Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Hello fellow HellDivers, Thornton here, and today we are going to be talking about how the CEO has officially addressed the concerns about the nerfs and making the game unfun and the huge backlash that has come with it. We're going to go over all of that stuff with HellDivers too, but without further ado, let's jump into today's topic. So this has been an incredibly tough week for Arrowhead and HellDivers too. It was supposed to be the launch of the brand new Escalation of Freedom update, there was a brand new Warbond coming in, and everyone's hype was at an all-time high. However, sadly, it looks like it backfired pretty badly. If you look on the Steam reviews, there is the continuation of the review bombing, as it is now mixed, with 50% of 9,308 user reviews are only positive, meaning the half are not. Along with that, when you actually look at this right here, well, we might be needing a second downvote cape or review bomb cape. This is the second time this has happened on a major update, and it's starting to get a little worrisome about what Arrowhead is exactly doing here. Now, the CEO actually did go ahead and give us a full breakdown on what exactly happened here. And he said, some brief thoughts here. Even though I'm not the ultimate authority on this topic, I want Johan, the former CEO, and Mick, our game director, to talk more about this. Is it a problem if 30% are all running the same weapon? In some ways, and not in other ways. If we make something super fun and people love it, of course it's a good thing. But we also want all the stuff in the game to be viable, depending on the situation, difficulty, missions, circumstances. He also went on to say that if one weapon is an omni tool, in other words, excellent in all scenarios, then Arrowhead probably has some work to do. And then he finally followed up with that saying, I will say that the approach has other consequences since systems are connected. It will lead to other parts getting knocked out for fun. Game balance is always a bit of whack-a-mole. I don't think we did as well as we hoped this time around with, and it's disappointing after we had a similar misstep earlier this year, which he went ahead and actually clarified on. Now, what's very interesting about this, there was a statement he actually put on Discord saying that though he thought he had improved over this on the summer, with 30 to 50% of the studio away, things fell between the cracks, being super transparent here. So it looks like the summer vacation that Arrowhead took, and I believe some members still are on, is being a huge issue in the game as things aren't being fully rolled out ready to go or not having a lot more looked at. That being said, there was a clip from Pirate Software, who's a great former game dev, who actually touched on buffs and nerfs, and I think it's really important because if Arrowhead actually listened to this, it would have clarified the Omni tool and one weapon being really good. But regardless, let's go ahead and listen to the clip right here and let me know your thoughts.
The way that you remove metas is you take the stuff that's falling behind, that's not in meta, and you buff it. You don't take the things that are working, you nerf the shit out of them. It doesn't work that way. The moment you do that, you've created a worse meta. You've created a toxic meta because people are upset, and now they have to look for something that actually works. It's a bad direction in terms of development.
So what he says there is actually perfect. You don't need to just nerf something because it is bad. I actually talked about this last week in a video covering the nerfs, where you want to go ahead and actually make more weapons viable to then have players pick other weapons that are good, not just go ahead and nerf the one good weapon, because that just makes players frustrated and upset. And Shams actually did go ahead and further clarify some other things. He said, I haven't spoken to everyone, of course, but many of us are disappointed on a few levels. On the one hand, the update had a bunch of nice stuff that isn't getting talked about, maybe deservedly so, as many aren't happy with the latest balance round. I think more broadly, it also has us discussing the path ahead and what we can do to avoid this situation again, i.e. internal learnings, more changes, i.e. process, which I actually think is a great way for him to look at the situation. I do hope Arrowhead actually does listen to this. It's okay for a studio to go ahead and make a mistake. I don't think people should be that critical. They should definitely voice their displeasure, let the Arrowhead team know, hey, this is not what we want, and let them learn from it so that they can improve it on the next one. That being said, if this happens again, which I mean, technically this is the second time, as we stated earlier, that they have nerfed things into the ground and players were unhappy, so it's kind of hard to tell if they're really going to take the message away from this. As he clearly states at the end of the message, it's also clear that me talking about it isn't enough. Actions matter, and that is 100% the case here. How Arrowhead goes into the future is going to be absolutely critical. Releasing a brand new fire resistance Warbond, but then nerfing all the fire stuff makes almost very little sense. Even from a marketing standpoint, I can't really see what the point was there. As the Arrowhead team comes back in, they're going to need to go ahead and try to fix this as soon as possible, because next month Warhammer 40k Space Marine is coming out. It's a very similar game in the idea that you play as a co-op faction fighting against a horde of enemies, except this game actually definitely lets you live the power fantasy of being a space marine, something that HellDivers has dialed back on and which could seriously impact it in the future. Let me know down below, what are your guys' thoughts on the current meta in HellDivers 2? Do you think that they need to make major changes, or do you think that they should just leave it alone and let the players have fun as they want? Also, don't forget to check out this video and this video right here where I cover more news on HellDivers 2, and as always, thank you for stopping by, and keep spreading democracy.